here we go. Hello everybody, Don the Crown here. We're going through the patch notes. I am not going to be necessarily reading every single line. I know if you're looking for that patch notes ASMR, that might not necessarily be for you, but there'll be a lot of things in here that we kind of already know, so I'll be definitely kind of breaking it down a little bit. So like this, for example, this whole section is always the same. So it's like, hey, there's a Heist League, here are the rewards you can possibly get. Hey, there's standard hardcore and solo self-found versions of this. Yada yada yada. Next up is kind of like new major content, and we already know a lot about this kind of stuff if you haven't been keeping up to date with the recent patches. I made a video that talked about a lot of the stuff that's in here right now. I don't necessarily see anything in particular that is brand new. So you have like new skills like Blazing Salvo, then you have Void Sphere, Crackling Lance I guess is kind of new. It's basically like arc. It's like arc, then less of an arc, then more of a beam, then a beam type of skill, which looks pretty cool. I'd like to play a build like that this league. Frost Shield, Splitting Steel, all of these are kind of things that we've known about in the past. Hex Blast I think looks really neat, especially when combined with Impending Doom support. Basically just chaos explodies going everywhere, and I would be surprised to see a lot of people combining the two of these in order to make kind of like some Bane pops really popping off. Although I kind of feel like Bane will probably still be better in the long run, simply because you only really have to press one button. So we have Pinpoint support, where you get projectile skills deal more damage and fire fewer projectiles per intensity. I'm pretty sure it gives you a couple projectiles though. And then when you repeatedly use supported skill, adds intensity. And then you can potentially get down to 0 total projectiles with this support, which I think is kind of neat. It kind of makes me wonder if there's anything out there that could make that decent. We have 28 new unique items. I don't think we've seen a lot of them yet. That's a lot of uniques, especially for a league where we're going to get 90 new replica uniques. I thought that number was going to be 100, but I guess I'm wrong. And also 800 alternate quality gems. I thought we were going to get 900. So, yeah. Minor new content and features. Following skills receive visual updates. Lightning Strike, who uses this? Firestorm, obviously. Ice Storm, cool. Caustic Arrow, again, I think. Smoke Mine, Discharge, and all curses. I'm kind of excited about the curses getting a rework in terms of visual because it's just been the same shit for a long time. It just kind of looks weird. Now hopefully it'll look really cool. I've seen some of them before. In the video for Discharge, there's like looks like probably Sniper's Mark, and it's gonna be pretty neat in terms of like just the coloring of it. So projectiles have been reworked to allow for more player-friendly behavior. Previously, if a projectile could not perform a step in its behavior sequence, it would skip that behavior, attempt the next, and never attempt to perform the skip behavior again. Now it will skip, then attempt the next, and if it reaches another enemy, attempt to perform the skip behaviors again. For example, a projectile that can both chain and return will now hit a target, and if there are no enemies for it to chain to, it will return. If it then hits another group of enemies, it will attempt to chain again, though it will not return again after chaining. Huh. That's pretty cool. That's kind of cool. The sequence of behaviors will attempt is now splitting, piercing, forking, chaining, then returning. Starting Double Strike Gladiator, but I don't know if Mark J just heard it. I'm not really sure yet, kid. We're just getting through the patch notes right now, so I'm not going to be able to answer too many questions as we're kind of just going through the patch notes. And I'm probably going to be ignoring a lot of questions until we get deeper down in the patch notes. So it looks like also a lot of modifiers that affect Chill and Shock now affect Brittle and Sap. Intensity now has a maximum stacks of 3 from 4. I think they stated that they're going to make it so that 3 is equal to the old 4, which makes the like getting an additional stack of intensity on the tree, and I think you can get it on the hat. I think that's right. I might be wrong about that. Is it a hat thing you can get? I think those will potentially be very strong. I can't remember what it is though. Could anybody remind me? No, it's unleash, so never mind. Unleash seals. That's what I was thinking about. Alright, so curses have been reworked for hexes and marks. We talked about this kind of in my video. Items, enemies which previously reflected curses can now only reflect hexes. Okay, I mean, I really wish that they had done this the other way around. It'd be really cool if you could only reflect marks, because then you could not reflect temporal chains, hex, and yeah. I don't know. I just feel like this particular interaction tends to cause a lot of problems. Lancing Steel, Shattering Steel, and Splitting Steel can now consume steel shards to cause bonus effects. Steel shards are gained through Call of Steel skill, which causes all nearby enemies to release their impale spikes and deals damage around them. If there are no impaled enemies nearby, Call of Steel will create steel shards over time. Every steel skill grants Call of Steel as well. You can have up to 12 steel shards at a time. I'd really like to see this number increased, mostly because melee likes to attack very quickly. I guess it's not technically melee, but going through 12 of them is going to be super easy. And also, against bosses, because you're probably going to feel kind of bad. Also, I really want to know what the cast time is on this. Because it could potentially, like, obviously it's kind of short, but it could potentially be really long, which would be bad. Assassin's Mark. I looked at this actually a little bit earlier, and I thought that this doesn't make any freaking sense. So marks are only going to be applied to one thing, right? And so enemies afflicted with Assassin's Mark now always grant a power charge and significant amount of life and mana when slain. So no longer causes enemies to take increased extra damage for critical strikes, which is kind of a direct nerf. Cursed enemies now have a 100% chance to grant a power charge when slain. That is also like, that's okay, but you're only going to put on one thing anyways. So it's kind of like a one-to-one type of thing, I guess. And hits against cursed enemies have flat critical strike chance. That's kind of good. That is kind of good, and the reason why I think that's kind of good is because this allows you to use Assassin's Mark on things that typically have a difficult time getting crit strike chance, such as Hollow Palm or any sort of unarmed. This will help out a lot. And you also get like more crit multi, but honestly, this 19% increased crit multi is not going to make up for the fact that you're losing the increased extra damage from critical strikes. And looks like cursed enemies are going to give you up to 600 life on kill, which is, if you can apply that to everything you're killing, a lot. But I don't think you'll be able to apply that pretty frequently. Now causes cursed enemy to have 1% chance to grant power charge when hit per 4% gem quality. You know, Denzar, Think Much Man, for the 10 months. So that means that's going to be, what, 5% chance? So you can probably generate power charges against bosses with this. But even then, 5% is pretty low. Pretty low. Pretty low. Poger's Mark no longer curses enemy to increase flash charges gain. They no longer have less evasion. They now have 100% chance to grant a frenzy charge when slain. They give you a life on hit and mana on hit. I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah, the rings won't be level 20. That makes sense. Now add 6 to 9 physical damage to hits against cursed enemies, up to 30 to 45 at gem level 20. I mean, that's going to be kind of nice for things that are, like, you know, going to be scaling that. You might actually... Huh. Oh, never mind. I hate this stat. with a burning, burning, burning passion. They keep adding this to things. And I can only assume that in Path of Exile 2, it's actually going to be important. But for right now, whenever you see physical damage reduction as like something that you are going to like minus physical damage reduction against enemies, or like, you know, 4 hits against enemies, this is like such a debate stat. Because basically, if you hit hard enough, your enemy's armor is going to do nothing. Like nothing. It might reduce your damage by 2, maybe 1, maybe 5% if you're hitting hard enough. And the only time physical damage reduction actually comes into play right now is when it is a map mod. Otherwise, completely terrible. And likewise, this one causes enemies to have a chance to grant you Frenzy Charge. This could be kind of interesting for Flicker Strike, maybe. Sniper's Mark has been redone. And cursed enemies take increased damage from projectile hits. That's good. That's a more multiplier. Now they grant Life Flask and Mana Flash Charge when you hit them, no more than once every half a second at all gem levels. Now this only applies to hits from the source of the mark and not, for example, your minions. That would be good. So this is a way to fill up your flasks against bosses. Projectiles which hit curse enemies now split towards 3 additional targets at level 1, 4 additional targets at gem level 20. Okay. So split, if I recall correctly, is the very first thing that projectiles do now, right? Which means that this could be really powerful, if I recall correctly, right? I don't remember where the thing is. Yeah, I think that's the order. Cursed enemies now take increased damage from projectile hits per quality. Wow, this is like... Sniper's Mark is very nice for ranged. Very nice for ranged skills. I might, if I end up doing a steel skill, which I think I'm going to do, probably will end up trying to work this into the build. I think this and Assassin's Mark both look really juicy for bossing. Especially because they give you that flat crit, give you that crit multi. Mwah. Really nice. Warlord's Mark always gives you endurance charge. No longer does a whole bunch of stuff. Hits against cursed enemies have 40% chance to double stun duration. I mean, this would be really nice and really great, except for the whole fact that it's really easy to stun bosses for like a microsecond, and if you stun bosses for a small amount, they're now immune to being stunned for like 4 seconds, which means nothing good. Cursed enemies now grant 5 rage over 1 second when they're stunned. That is really nice. Does sniper work for spells? That's a great question. It says projectile hits, as long as it's a spell projectile. Yeah. So this is really nice. This is really nice for map clearing, kind of. And I could see that kind of being slapped in there for some builds. For bossing, meh. Bossing, it's still going to be way better just to throw down a whole bunch of blade storms and then with, like, you know, rage support. And I like how they gave you life and mana leech, but it's only for attacks, no spells. Which, you know, spells continue to get screwed over by not having a leech. Alright, next up, Lancing Steel. I don't remember what Lancing Steel's numbers were, so let's go look at them before. Okay, so they slowed down Lancing Steel. Now deals 63% base damage to gem level 1 and 85% at gem level 20. Oof. Did they nerf Lancing Steel? It looks like they nerfed every single number on Lancing Steel. Yeah, so it's slower. The base damage is like halved. Maybe the way the projectiles work is different. It has less impale chance. The subsequent hits deal less damage. And you can fire up to 2 additional projectiles, so 5 total projectiles. It kind of seems bad. All projectiles hit the same target. Okay, so before you'd only hit with 1 projectile. So, if before you're hitting for like 180%, and now you're able to hit for, what, 6 projectiles? But 5 of those are doing 40%, so... Okay, so slightly more damage. Slightly more damage. Well, your GMP with 4 steel shards is 15 projectile hit. Damn. How is it 15 projectiles? Oh, is this more projectiles? Oh. That's actually kind of cool. So yeah, if you have other sources of projectiles, then you will get more projectiles from that. Oh, that's kind of cool. So things like, oh, what is the name of that flask? Dying Sun will be back on the menu. Maybe, what is the... What is the sword that always gives additional projectiles? That might be back on the menu. Could be good. Shattering Steel now fires a number of projectiles simultaneously, which shatter after colliding with an enemy or traveling a short distance. The shatter projectiles deal damage to a cone in front of their impact location. Shattering Steel will consume up to 2 steel shards to deal more damage at close range. Each time you consume steel shards, you will gain a steel charge. Up to a maximum of 6, which grants a 4% chance to block attack projectile. Why? Yeah, think about bell timbers, I think. This is so Poger. This is like literally the opposite of what I said. Yo, you're going to be up close and near enemies, and so we're going to give you block chance, but just not good block chance. %24 chance to block would have been just really nice. I have no idea how to actually unpack all this. It's just so dumb. It's so dumb. Blocking attack projectiles. It is like so specific. It's so specific. Blocking attack projectiles. It's not like just block projectiles. That'd be cool. But no, it's attack projectiles. Are porcupines attacks or are they spells? I don't know. And it's just like, cool, I'm point blank. Whack. You get blasted in the face with a melee attack. Firestorm. It's now a 28 gem. Please be aware that existing low-level characters with Firestorm socket may have the gear slot disabled. Remember some people were saying that this is like really low damage. I don't really want to go through all of the numbers here. I don't really know the math. I think discharge is kind of easy to look at though. Discharge. Larger base area effect. That's good. 56 to 203 base lightning damage. That is a huge buff. Up to 1400 base lightning damage at gem level 20. Holy guacamole, bro. These numbers are massive. Absolutely ginormous. Now deals 20% increased area effect per charge consumed. Oh my god. Oh my god. So you can very easily just have 16 discharges going off. Or 16 charge discharges going off. And it's just like... That's going to be huge. 320% increased AoE. Easy. I mean, I had builds in the past where I had 11... I think I had 11 power and endurance charges. That's a lot of AoE. And that's a lot of just damage. Holy crap. That is a lot of damage, man. Punishment. I mean, so this is kind of weird placement for punishment. Now causes cursed enemies to take 50% increased damage while low life, up to 88% increased damage at gem level 20. So bring this to Uber Lab, is that what it's telling me? Ferals for Raider? Yeah, I can definitely see that. A 999 discharge build? Yeah, you don't want to do 999 though. Yeah, Brotherhood Ami is going to be big dollars. Now causes 10% of overkill damage from killing blows against cursed enemies to be reflected to other enemies as physical damage. So, if you can get punishment on hits, it's going to be insane. Absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers punishment on hit. If you can get punishment corruption on gloves or something, oh my lord. 10% of overkill damage as a hit. Oh, to be reflected? So it doesn't count as a spell. I don't think it counts as a hit again. So it probably won't let you chain off of that. Maybe. Do reflects count as a hit? I can't remember. Although reflected damage hit, it intentionally doesn't trigger most on hit effects. Accordingly, cannot cause status ailments, stun, critical strikes, and have other similar effects that require a hit. Okay. So yeah. With 10 endurance charges, discharges screen wide. Oh my god. Good morning, Breton Gaming and other people. I am doing patch notes right now, so I'm not going to be responding too much. I'm going to put this up on YouTube. Vitality now does like massive flat, but it's kind of like precision now. It's like clarity and precision. You can reserve a flat amount of mana. It can be used to more rapidly enable builds that rely on life regeneration, such as RF, and no longer disproportionately rewards high life builds. I think this is good. I mean, I don't think people ever really use Vitality unless they're like Righteous Fire, like obvious. They were stacking auras, or they were specifically just using it to proc a Watcher's Eye. Lightning Trap, Glacial Hammer, Vol Glacial Hammer, Ice Shot, Lightning Arrow, Arc, blah 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 blah. Now each also affect the alternative versions of their corresponding elemental ailments. I don't know what that means. Only gems which are curses will now have the curse gem tag, i.e. all hexes and marks. Skills which interact with hexes and or marks will have the hex and or marks tag, but will not have the curse tag. Bane, for example, has the hex tag, but not the curse tag, as it is not a curse. As a result, modifiers to curse skill gems will not affect skill gems like Bane. Kind of a nerf? Arc can sap now. Oh, so it also affects the alternative version, the corresponding. Oh. Wait, so is this an arc buff? Is this Storm Blast Mine buff? Glacial Hammer got a buff again? Glacial Hammer League, boys. Ball lightning nerfs. Big surprise. Clarity buff. Curse applied by casting a spell now gain 10 doom per second. Now causes hex enemies to have 25% chance to shock to all gem levels. Blah blah blah. I wonder how what does doom mean exactly? Why do you get Righteous Fire so early if you can't use it? Because it allows you to have really funny clips when players find or buy Righteous Fire in hardcore, equip it, activate it, and they watch their health go. I don't think Bane's dead so far. I've seen like pretty much they made it so like plus to curse level is not going to be something to happen. But I don't think that's terrible. No longer causes cursed enemies to have reduced critical strike chance or critical strike multiplier. That's a little bit unfortunate. That's a nerf. Yeah, Enfeebled just got hard nerfed. Which is bad. This is actually like one of like the typically pretty solid defensive layers, and it just got hacked. I've noticed that repeatedly over the last couple patches, GGG has been taking defensive layers and just like stripping them off of the game. They're like, nope, you are gonna get one shot, sir. You are going to die. And it's just another example of them doing it. Now grant stealth. Precision no longer has a strength requirement. What was precision's requirements before? I didn't remember precision even having a strength requirement. Granted, I play all strength builds. Oh, it did have a strength requirement. Interesting. They are increasing the dexterity requirement, though, by a little bit. Temporal Chains now grants increased radius. Okay, so it has more AoE. That's it. So one thing to note is that so Temporal Chains, vulnerability, and elemental weakness. These are all in the lab. So you need to keep your eye on them a little bit, right? So elemental weakness, temporal chain seems fine. Vulnerability no longer causes attack hits have a chance to maim. No longer curse enemies have increased physical damage from damage over time. Curse applied by the spell now causes ailments inflicted by cursed enemies to deal damage 20% faster. So what this means is that no longer will Izaro bleed you and cause you to bleed out over a little bit of time. When you have vulnerability on you, it means that if Izaro bleeds you out, you're gonna fucking die if you don't have bleed immunity. You are just going to die. It's gonna be like, oh, I got a bleed on me. And you're dead. HP is just gonna go. That little red orb of yours is gonna. Let's see here. All of these no longer have you do less damage. Instead, grant +5 to the respective max res. That's fine. Awakened Hex Touch Support. So Curse on hit does not apply marks. Now grants the supported hex a chance for it to apply to hexproof rather than apply to them. So it's not 100%. Not 100%. But, yeah. Interesting. Surprised it's got 2 lines there. Intensify support. Support skills now gain intensify. Supported skills now deal more area per damage per intensity at gem level 1. Up to 22 at gem level 20. There's a slight buff there. I really feel like they want to make intensify a thing, right? I really feel like they want to make it that a thing. We'll have to see. Death mark support is now predator support because they don't want it to be a mark. Now grants the signal prey skill, simply previously called death mark. Spell slinger support. Oh my god, the nerf is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So the cooldown is now 0.6 seconds from 0.5. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. Now grants a supported skills increased cooldown recovery rate as the gem levels 0 to 38%. That might even be better. That might even be a soft nerf. And then a soft buff here maybe, but then a nerf in terms of the mana reservation. So you won't be able to reserve as much with Spellslinger. Add a new keystone, Doomsday. Doomsday, I like that. Causes hexes you cast to apply to an area, applying the hex to all enemies in it for over its duration. The hex area gains maximum doom over a short secondary duration. It's a 20% nerf? How is this a 20% nerf? %50 more mana reservation at the start. I guess you can have like less skills, right? But 38% over 19. Yeah. What do I know? I'm not a spell slingy boy. But yeah, Doomsday seems kind of neat. Doomsday could be really interesting because it applies hex to enemies over time, which I wonder. So pretty much what this does is it like, you know how when you fight Doedry, how she has those like stupid circles that like always apply curse? You pretty much are able just to drop these places, right? And the hex area gains its maximum doom after a short secondary duration. So it seems like you can drop these circles places, and you can probably just hex blast, 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 and it just keeps applying the hex over and over again. It seems kind of neat. Glancing blow. There's butcher glancing blows. 65% damage from 50%. It's been moved to make it more difficult to acquire via Thread of Hope Jewel. Good. Good. I never used it before because I'm a bad builder. But yeah, I feel like glancing blows, like this last patch, it was just like this the solver for every build survivability. Just get glancing blows. Well, why aren't you getting glancing blows in your build? Like, oh, you're taking damage? Get glancing blows. Oh, you're a Necromancer? You better have glancing blows. And it's just like, I also called this here that they're going to nerf the maximum chaos res down a little bit. Skittering runes have been moved just below Heart of Thunder. Now grants +10 to maximum doom and 10% increased effect of your curses. From 15% effect of your curses. The doom amount is tied to the area, not the enemy, making it the bossing notable for Hex Blast. Yeah, that's what I think about that, Xian. I think Doomsday will be kind of interesting and kind of cool. Let's see, other things have been moved. This has been moved. This has been moved. The new Dark Intent clusters been added. We're just getting runes. Some of these are actually kind of neat. And it has 3 small passes, but are notable. The entry pass have 5% effective curses. 0.2% of chaos damage leads as energy shield. The right path grants 4% chaos to resist penetration on each passive. So I could see this being kind of good for Hex Blast. Because you need to hit, right? Your Hex Curse spells create a Hex area for 1 second. Enemies in the Hex area are hexed, and the Hex does not expire when the Hex does not expire while in the Hex area. Hexes applying this way do not gain Doom over time. Hexes in the Hex area gain a maximum Doom when the Hex area ends. Increase the effect of your curses and reduce maximum mana of curse applies. The new. Alright, so some of this doesn't make any sense to me. It grants increased effect of your curses, reduced mana reservation of cursed aura skills, increased damage with hits and ailments against cursed enemies, and additional starting doom for all hexes you apply. Dota v PoE, just go to Filter Blade. I don't think there's any patch. I don't think there's anything yet. I don't think there's any filters yet. That's interesting, though, that they're doing additional starting doom. The new mark, the weak cluster, has been added to southeast of Ranger. Grants increased cast speed for curses. Causes hits against marked enemies to have increased critical strike chance. It also causes marked enemies to have reduced accuracy, take increased damage, and grant additional flash charges when slain. I wonder where this is. Because take increased damage is always good. And reduced accuracy is also always good, unless you can't dodge. Can't evade, sorry. The new Marked for Death cluster has been added to southeast of Duelist. You grant increased effect to your curses, culling strike against marked enemies, increased damage with hits and ailments against enemies marked by you. I think this one's not very good. The increased damage with hits and ailments is not take increased damage, which is bad. Culling Strike is like everywhere. You can get it really easy. Unless the effect of curse is really, really high. Deadly Infusion Notable now grants 1.5 critical strike chance, while at maximum power charge is down from 2, and 5 crit multi per power charge down from 8. The small passives, which grant critical strike chance and critical strike multi, now grant 10% critical strike multi down from 15. So it seems like they just like kind of like tapped down Assassin a little bit, but Assassin is still so ridiculous, man. Like, I was really blown away with my Assassin this past league when I pretty much, without doing almost anything, was way over the crit cap. And like just getting a little bit of accuracy was an insane amount of damage. And I was like, oh, I don't need a diamond flask. I don't need anything, and I'm just crit capped. Felt really weird. Necromancer has been punted back down to 50%. I don't know why they ever changed this. I don't know why they ever changed either of these. So item modifier tags have been completely reworked with goal in mind of consistency and simplicity. These changes have negligible impacts to the odds of various modifiers appearing on rare items naturally, but may have impacts to results of certain crafting methods. List all the modifiers and associated tags can be found there. As a result of the above changes, several fossil descriptions have changed slightly. Bound fossils now also increase the likelihood of rolling curse modifiers. Faceted fossils now increase the likelihood of rolling all gem related modifiers rather than only modifiers to socketed gem levels. This seems like a big nerf to these fossils. Right? Because what people use these for is to make stupid bows that are like +1 dex, +1 strength, +1 level, then they add +2 supports. What are you talking about there? 77X though? Yeah, that seems really ridiculous. Curse on hit rings no longer specify a level, and instead have a set magnitude for their values with a fixed amount of do, which is overwritten whenever another source applies a more potent version. Items to trigger a mark and hit now only do so when hitting rare and unique enemies. Holy sh... That's not good. That's making marks really bad for clearing. I don't know why they're like... I don't know why they're doing that. It seems like they're trying to move away from everybody having like curse on hit rings, basically. Life regen is less likely to roll on items. The value of life regeneration granted by these modifiers has been increased across all but the first tier, with the top mod is now granting twice as much life regen. Existing items can be re-rolled with a Divine Orb. Crusader influence items can no longer roll a physical damage conversion modifier if the item already has one. Collaborate enchantments would grant reduced mana reservation for vitality, now grant 20 and 30%. Up from 14 and 20. Marks can only be applied to one enemy at a time. I thought you could only do it one enemy at a time each. Lancing Steel's primary projectile pierces 3 additional targets, has been replaced with a new enchantment that grants an additional projectile. The existing items with the enchantment are unaffected. Lancing Steel's additional projectiles have 20 to 30 chance to impale enemies. Lab enchant has been replaced with new enchant, giving 20 to 30% chance not to consume steel shards. Existing items are unaffected. Shattering Steel fires additional barrage. Has this chance to not consume steel shards. That's fine. 30 to 40% of Glacial Cascade physical damage converted to cold has been replaced with new enchantment, granting physical damage is extra cold. I mean, this is like a huge buff to Glacial Cascade. Huge buff. And the reason for this is because you used to be like, alright, I need a hat enchant, or I need a gem, or a new jewel. It's not that way anymore, which is really, really big. Increased discharge radius, replace a new one granting more radius. That is really nice. That is really nice. Radius is way better than other things. The storm now increases the effect of non-damaging ailments to inflict critical strikes. And now works with alternate ailments as well. Precise commander causes you and your enemies have a little bit less crit, a little less crit multi. That's fine. Vengeful commander, kind of 33% nerfed. That's kind of sucky. Vicious Bite also nerfed. But the fact that only 4 cluster jewels got nerfed. Whoa. That is that's surprisingly few. And there's no buffs? I mean, there's kind of a buff. Like, there's kind of a buff. But, yeah, that's surprisingly few. A lot of, like, the top-end builds were using this. Items with previously inflicted a random curse now inflict a random hex. This affects Soul Mantle, Trickery, and some other things. So there are less hexes than there are marks, right? Which means Soul Mantle is kind of nerfed, right? You're not going to be able to hex yourself up as much as you were able to curse yourself, right? Now grant increased lightning ailment duration on enemies. Lightning ailment duration. Alright, so looking through some of these, I don't really see anything too crazy just yet. I mean, Blood Grip is really popular early league, but Gluttony no longer has level 30 Poacher's Mark, no longer grants culling against enemies cursed with Poacher's Mark, now grants life on hit against enemy with attacks against cursed enemies. This could actually be useful. This could actually be kind of useful. Life on hit, mana on hit. I can see that being used in some builds. Probably can take Soul Mantle what it was before they added new curses like Despair. Won't be that bad, but yes, small nerf. Yeah, marks are for a single target. Hexes are AoE. Mark of Submission now curses enemies with socketed hexes. This affects all versions of the item. Alright, so Mark of the Submission is hex only. Mark of Hex Mission is what that says now. Profane Proxy now only causes socketed hexes to be applied as an aura around your Skitterbot. Okay, so they really don't want you to be doing marks. Yar and 7-7. Can you take the build discussion into DMs? Thanks. Putrid Cloister no longer applies projectile weakness, now applies despair instead. I mean, does this matter? Do people actually run this without having a curse remove flask? Okay, lots of Watcher's Eye changes here. Now grant 10 to 15% increased energy shield recovery rate while affected by discipline. Big nerf. 6 to 10% maximum mana as extra maximum energy shield. Huge nerf. Holy shit. From 18 down to 10%. Mana recovery nerfed. Have the life recovery rate. Have the damage leech's life from vitality. Not halved it, but significantly dropped it. But honestly, this value could be like 0.1 and probably wouldn't matter. Because if this is how you're getting leech, then you will be doing enough damage. Oh wow, crit multi for precision. Looks like Watcher's Eye is kind of dead. Not dead, but a lot less powerful. Especially with like things like cluster jewels being in the game and other things. Like if this happened this league, Watcher's Eyes would be like not really used all that much. However, we're not going to have insane gear. Whispering Ice got rebalanced. Has 2 to 4 base cold damage per 10 intelligence. Up from 1 to 3. So that's what, 4 to So 6, that's like, it's kind of like a 50% damage buff there. 50% flat damage buff, 33% less time. Less duration there. Oh. It now hits like half as much. So hits harder for less time, less frequently, a little more added damage effectiveness, maximum of 5 storms, a little bit bigger. Whispering Ice just got like, what are they doing? Were people actually playing Whispering Ice? Okay. Raised Spectre versions of Redemption Sentries and Redemption Knights now have approximately 33% less life and damage than before. That feels like not enough. Bosses throughout PoE and monsters deep in the Azurite Mine no longer reduce the effects of marks on them. Hexproof monsters can now be cursed, but will ignore the effect of any hexes applied to them. Previously, curses could not be applied. Hexproof in no way mitigates the effect of a mark. So aren't there things that give you hexproof? Does that mean that you won't be mark-proof? Apparently Whispering Ice was the secret 100% delirium farmer. Sentries are still fine. Yeah, like all I know about the Redemption Sentries is that, like, didn't Gazi have like a 1 billion DPS build or something like that with them? And so that's like just insane, man. Monster packs with the Caverns and Ancient Pyramid now spawn with a perk Necromancer. No more Ash Prophets with Lightning Skeletons. Monsters have their own version of the new Enduring Cry. Ooh, I don't like that. Enduring Cry is very strong. I don't want monsters using it. Dreadwheel monsters no longer have quick and fast attacks as implicits, and have had the effects of this modifier moved to their base property. As a result, external modifiers to their movement and attack speed will have a greater effect. Yay! Wheelie boys are way faster now. I'm calling right now, Ziz is going to die to getting just wheeled to death. He's going to get super stunned. Map tiers have been shuffled. Improved signaling for advancing the Atlas quest line. Step in which Zana opens a portal after the map boss is slain. Dungeon boss will no longer spawn infinite spikes if he's allowed to live indefinitely. I'm pretty excited about the Zana mods. I think Fortune Favors the Brave is going to be super popular. Like Abyss is kind of a loser there. Domination is kind of a loser. You break even on Bloodlines. You making good on Nemesis. Beyond is good. Blight is good. Delirium is good. I think I'll probably be using Fortune Favors the Brave early on. Especially because you can hit Delirium early. Whew. Why? 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 Do people actually use the Blight Towers? Sage, thank you for the 3 months. Really appreciate that, man. The alerts are on silent right now because we're doing YouTube stuff. The Hall of Metal, Hall of Heroes, and Hall of Legends are now only available in incursion temples whose temporal expiration begin in level 68 and above areas. Ooh. This is actually a sneaky buff to people that are quarry farming. So here's the deal. Basically, or people that just like want to farm Alva at all, basically what you want to do is when you start your temple, you want to start your temple in quarry or something. Start it, do one single mission, and then it means you can no longer get 3 of these maps. It probably means that you probably can't get the cartographers either. And then that means you're way more likely, if you're knocking out, 3, 4 different rooms, that you are probably going to get double corrupt and gem corrupt and sacrifice chambers a lot more frequently because you can X out rooms. Completely Xing out rooms. That's really good. The buried monolith encounter is... Oh, this is Delve. Ooh. Yeah, no Aziri, no Legion, no Cardo, no... I don't know what Hall of Metal... Hall of Legends is all these things. But yeah, there's a lot of things you chop out, which means you at least want to do one of them in some other place. So I might actually try splitting steel. Right out the gate. Might try it out. I mean, I want to go melee. Probably going to try pretty much for... But since Duelist gets this at the gate, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try it out, and I'm probably going to cry. How bad it is. And be like, oh my god, GGG, why would you do this to me? Give me a good skill. But, yeah. Kind of interesting. Flame Wall is breaking some eggs. Interesting. Precision's now all characters. Frostblade 2.0. Yeah, it's Frostblade 2.0. So what I'm going to do is splitting steel, and I'll probably also take Frostblades. And if Frostblades, if splitting steel does way better, then I'll be surprised. The thing about leveling though is like Frostblades just fucking trucks. It just does so well because you just get Ancestral Call, Frostblades, and you're just like everything dies. So I don't think splitting steel is going to do that because splitting steel is not a strike. Therefore, splitting steel cannot get Ancestral Call. Therefore, splitting steel cannot get like the shotgun funsies of Frostblades. And yes, you can Frostblades and also slam at the same time because Frostblades don't give a crap about what weapon you're using. You could use a stick, you could use a sword, you can use an axe, you can use a mace, you can use whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. And this is why Frostblades is really strong early on because it's just so weapon agnostic that you can just pick up whatever you think is good, at least in the beginning, and it helps you just have a smoother start. And then I'll probably like try to get into like two-hander big axes and just go ground slam again, which would be really fun. Blazing Salvos, a Siren's Call. That seems kind of good. And then Shattering Steel is Siren's Cadence. So yeah, we could do Splitting Steel into Shattering Steel. You can't Frostblades with a wand or a bow. Those are the two weapon types you can't, or fisting. You can't fist blades for some reason. Okay, so we have different curses now. I'm going to have to review some of these later. So when you start getting marks... Oh, so you get some marks at the same time you start getting curses. Interesting. And then Lancing Steel is a Gravicious item. Crackling Lance is also Gravicious. Breaking the Seal. That is for Act 4, right? Yeah. PvP. So this means that the new skills are going to be really very nice for farming the PvP Hologram Masters map right off the bat. And so pretty much just be like, oh, hi, Shattering Steel. Everything dies. And it'll be like Void Sphere. Every enemy just explodes into a million pieces around you. So yeah. Bug fixes. Fix the bug where dropping rock visuals during Vault Oversoul encounter were not removed when the Vault Oversoul was slain. Harvest era versions of Edna Madness did not have increased chaos damage per level modifier. They still won't have it, but new ones should. Wow, this went the entire league. Nobody used Edge of Madness. I'm glad this was not a level up with Edge of Madness league, because that would have been sad. Chimera's Avarice was erroneously noted as triggering its Icicle skill on hit in 3.12, but this change is not yet ready. It will include in a future patch. And that's the patch notes. I gotta say, overall, I'm really surprised that Earth Shatter wasn't on there. That there's not a single change to War Cries. Everybody was telling me going into this that War Cries were going to get nerfed, Earth Shatter was going to get nerfed, Earthquake was going to get nerfed. I don't see anything. So what that tells me is that a certain axe that I used this past league, which I mentioned in my build guide, can very easily carry me from like white tier maps directly into tier 16s once again. Fix the bug where modifiers and impale effect would apply to existing impales. Did that get there? Oh yeah, and Cyclone also didn't get nerfed, right? Modifiers would apply to existing impales. I think that's if you change weapons or something. Enduring Cry did get nerfed. Enduring Cry... I wouldn't really call Enduring Cry getting nerfed as nerfed like to War Cries in general. It's just Enduring Cry is very strong. Okay, what's this button? So the other thing we can look at here real quick. A whole bunch of stuff here. A whole bunch of divination cards. Wow, there are a lot of contract types. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 different types. One of them is a naval contract. But then looks like some of these are unique. And they... This is almost going to be annoying. I'm willing to bet... Oh, these are quest items. Never mind. These probably work together, right? Enduring Cry nerf is very sad for discharge. But it had to be, right? So it looks like there's different tiers of stuff like Torn Cloak, Tattered Cloak, Hooded Cloak, Whisper Woven Cloak, Silver Gold Enamel Folate. What the heck is this? What does that word even mean? decorated with leaves or leaf-like motifs. I'm like, yeah, like this sounds like this is like plant. A plant brooch. Simple, standard, fine, master locksmith. This Hesmana is really that good. Hesmana is really good. Hesmana is dumb good. If anybody who was here for my league start, I was like, oh man, I dropped a tier 14 map out of my Uber lab. Maybe I should. Maybe drop tier 13 map out of my Uber lab. Maybe we should slap these with some Harbinger orbs. Hopefully we won't hit the Harbinger map. Oh, I did. I hit tier 16 map. Great. Cool. Let's run this. And I was just like, this might be a little rough, guys. And I was just like, smash, smash, smash. I was like, oh my god, we're doing tier 16s on a Hesmana 5 link. Okay. Any good league starter for Blighted Maps player? Maybe some sort of Necromancer or something. I don't really do that type of content very frequently. But there's a lot of interesting stuff. The thing I'm kind of interested in here is all the experimental base types. So say there's 3 different types of wands. Assembler, Congregator, Accumulator, Hollow Point, Pressurized, Pneumatic, Flicker Flame, Flash Fire, Infernal, Psychotic Axe. I'm gonna be so annoyed if this is like Lightning, Fire, Frost. If everything's Lightning, Fire, Frost, Lightning, Fire, Frost, I'm gonna be sad. I'm very sad. Alright, map tiers. So I guess like Volcano's good early on. Park. I mean, honestly, I don't really want to look through a lot of these, but what's the one that drops that card? I can't remember what map drops the card I always buy. Let's see here. Celestial Justicar. Comes out of Cursed Crypt, which is now a tier 13 map. F. That's a nerf. That's a Don nerf right there, man. That is a big Don nerf right there. That sucks, man. I do like seeing Promenade in tier 15. We'll probably be running Summits, or Necropolis, if I recall, drops Crystal Belts, right? Yeah. So Necropolis actually might be kind of popular to run it with a Shaper Scarab, because you can potentially get Crystal Belts out there. Why Don nerf? So Cursed Crypt used to be a lot lower tier. People would run this to get themselves the Celestial Justicar card, which is the 6-link card that I'd like to get. It's the Astral Plate 6-link. And now it's not going to be really available. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, I think that is all of the news. All of the news. Last thing we can watch is Discharge. Okay, can't get this to work. Copy link. So this like green thing above his head, I think that's Sniper's Mark. Oh my gosh, just one-shotting everything. What is the lightning blasting down on him? He also had a debuff on him there that I'm not familiar with. Are we familiar with whatever this is? This is probably a new curse, right? It's probably LA weakness curse. I would assume that all of the skills are getting alternative qualities. Vulcan still beta? Yep, definitely. But yeah, that is me looking over the patch notes. If you're on YouTube watching this, hope you enjoyed. Sorry I'm a little exhausted right now. I haven't really been sleeping very well. But yeah, that is all the stuff. I hope you enjoyed the patch notes read through. Let me know what stuff you enjoyed in the comments below. See you guys in Heist League.